I was the only person to give any evidence about the Northern Gateway with regard to human health and traffic pollution. And I will keep this very brief, but you should know that Oxford has very high levels of childhood asthma and childhood obesity. Where I live, we have the Woodstock Road roundabout, right up at the top of the Woodstock Road, and I'm sure you all know it. And you should know that the levels of nitrogen oxide and fine particulate matter have been over legal limits there for years. For years. And the council knows that. The county council said in 2008, when the first Northern Gateway or toxic triangle development was suggested, that it was not suitable for housing because of the outlook and because of the air pollution. So, what is the response of St. John's College and Savills and the City Council and the County Council to our known illegal levels of air pollution? Well, they're going to build the Northern Gateway. The Northern Gateway is scheduled to put in at least 300,000 vehicle movements a year into that area. We were promised at the planning inspectors' meetings by the developers that there would be ample provision of bicycle paths and that the buses would take care of 50% of the increased vehicular traffic, which of course is ludicrous. That's not going to happen, but let's say it did. That's still 150,000 vehicle movements a year crammed onto an area which is ridge and furrow, most of what's left, and which also is bounded by the A40, the A34, which is scheduled to be widened to a 3 lanes each way motorway, and of course all of the extra traffic from Water Eaton, from the railway, and from the developments in Kidlington. Now, Oxford and in Charwell District, we lose 108 people every year to fine particulate matter-induced death alone. So that's 2 coaches worth of people. The average loss of life in terms of reduction of years is 6.2. That means that we have people dying before their time for no reason. Now, I think it's inexcusable that housing allegedly for growing families, which of course they cannot afford, is being done at the cost of the health of their children. Children should not be further disadvantaged by being expected to live in one of the most contaminated areas in Oxford, which it will be, with 90,000 square meters of retail and from 500 to 800 houses placed in that area. Not only will they be subject to traffic, but we have, of course, a railway line being vastly expended to carry 1 kilometer-long trains. The vibration, the low-level noise that these children and these families, if they live there, that they will be subjected to, will be constant. I understand that the LEP is supposed to be our local voice, and we have heard all along that the LEP, which government calls localism, is not local. And I am deeply sorry that the university that gave me my doctorate is in up to the eyebrows on the overdevelopment of Oxford. I can only apologize. I am so sorry that this is the case. But it is the case. If you have a connection with Oxford, with Cambridge, or with Oxford Brookes, you need to start writing to the university. If you have a connection with St. John's College, then I beg of you, you need to write to the master. You need to write to Cambridge. You need to write to Bob Price, who is in a neck-and-neck death struggle to outdevelop Cambridge. And you should know that Cambridge's development is 78 million pounds over budget. So we are on a hiding to nothing. And we certainly need to follow the advice of the people who have spoken to you before. And let's not forget whose interests are at heart. It's not just us, it's not just Port Meadow, it's not just having ugly buildings, it's not that. It is the health and resilience of future generations and of your mothers and your fathers that we're talking about. Thank you.